So joining us on that conversation about the media, hate speech, and consolidating our democracy, as has been put forward by the Media Foundation for West Africa, we have joining the conversation Kweku Krobia Asante. He is Communications Lead, Media Foundation for West Africa. Mr. Asante, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Benjamin.
Let's talk about this drive. You have a number of institutions that you are collaborating with on this, but why this theme and why this drive at this time?
Well, thank you very much, Benjamin. I think that in the last few months, we have been realizing the growing incidence of hate speech, of abusive language, of misinformation, all on our airwaves and our prints and our online news websites. That is getting to a point that is extremely worrying. Notable of them is the recent comment by the minister, a Greek minister, at a rally organized by his party, making comments that suggested that they will use all possible means, including even if it has to come to where they will use means that are not recommended to stay in power and to ensure that they hold on to power in the coming elections. Also in Boko, we have seen what is happening. At the heart of what is happening at Boko is radio stations or media platforms being used as weapons and tools to incite people into the violence that is happening, and many others that is creeping up, especially because of what is we are realizing the by-elections that is happening around and all of that. It is fanning flames, and we are very mindful that we are heading to the 2024 elections. It's just about 1 year and 6 months to the general elections, and this is extremely worrying. Even for our monitoring over the period, it is beginning to be too early, even for such, heightened tension and all that. And we thought that we should bring together stakeholders, bring together the major people who have influence on this subject matter to address or make concrete steps and recommendations so that we can nip this in the bud even before we get into the election year period.
Now, you're doing this in conjunction with the National Peace Council, the National Media Commission, the National House of Chiefs, and all of that. What went into selecting these institutions or these bodies? Especially, for example, the National House of Chiefs. You mentioned what is happening in Boku, and some, of the rhetoric. Look at Galamsey, for example. I know I'm straying from the actual theme, but what went into selecting these groupings, and what are you hoping to achieve by bringing them on board?
Well, first off, the conversation is so much about the media. The National Media Commission is the statutory body set up to ensure professional and ethical standards in the media. They themselves have been at the forefront of fighting this issue. They issued a statement on the Boku incidents calling on owners of radio stations to be mindful of how they use their platforms to incite violence. So we thought it is important that we have the National Media Commission on board. Two, we thought that it is important that we have the National Peace Council, as this also borders on the country's peace and stability. And of course, they are also in charge of that. And then we bring in the National House of Chiefs, primarily because we know that the incidents that we are realizing has to do with chieftaincy issues, the Boko case, for instance. And a lot of times, too, when it comes to people who have control on the local people and communities, it's about the chiefs. A conversation about peace, a conversation about democratic consolidation, it's not possible if you don't bring at the lower level, step in and calm tensions. And so we thought that we should bring in the National Media Commission, we should bring in the National Peace Council, the National House of Chiefs, and of course, bring you in Joy 99.7 and JoyNews to also be partners, also as a very credible media outlet who have stood out over the period in ensuring that when it comes to ethics and professional standards, you are in there, but also to reach a lot of audience through your platform.
Now, in terms of the forum addressing the incidents of hate speech abusive language in the media and the public discourse. Tell us a bit about some of those who are going to be speaking to those issues tomorrow at the British Council.
Well, like you have mentioned, the program is tomorrow at the British Council, 9 o'clock in the morning, or 9:30 a.m. By 9 o'clock, the guests will start coming in. We have the keynote speaker being His Excellency Charles Abani, who is the UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana. And then we have the chairperson of the event being the National Peace Council Chairman, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, who will be chairing the occasion. And then we have panelists going to generate key talking points, raise thoughts on the subject matter. We have the Executive Secretary, George Sapon, of the National Media Commission joining us. We have Madam Clara Kasati, who is the Vice Chairperson of the Board of Directors for CDD Ghana. Of course, CDD Ghana is an opinion leader, thought leader when it comes to issues of democracy and development in the country. We have Dr. Festus Obin, who is the Regional Coordinator, Research and Capacity Building for ONEF. ONEF is also in the conversation when it comes to elections and peace building. They are very influential in that. And then we have the President of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, Mr. Cecil Sunkwame. Of course, GEBA is also, in terms of the conversation being on radio and how the platforms are being used, GEBA is the body an association that has independent broadcasters together, and ensuring that the standards are protected in that order. And so we have all these key personalities coming on board to generate conversations, to make recommendations that will guide in protecting our airwaves, our media platforms against this proliferation of hate-sent expressions, especially going to the elections and protecting Ghana's democratic consolidation.
So all roads lead tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., arrival at 9 a.m., to the British Council for this all-important event. Any final words in the next few seconds as we wrap?
Well, I have to reiterate that the conversation is going to be carried live on Joy 99.7 and will also be carried on JoyNews. And so people who cannot be on TV, but we want to invite everybody who is a major stakeholder, journalists, media editors, even people who have interest in the conversation to be there. We will make concrete recommendations. In fact, we are bringing in and all the players and actors in the political space to make commitment to peace at the forum, so that we can protect our airwaves heading into the election and ensure that the gains we have made in terms of stability, peace, and democracy will be protected.
Mr. Asante, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the good work. Kweku Probi Asante is Communications Lead, Media Foundation for West Africa. Now, tomorrow, the 14th day of June, marks World Blood Donor Day. It is celebrated throughout the world, and the day provides a special opportunity to celebrate and thank voluntary blood donors like me around the world for their gift of blood, and has become a major focus for action towards achieving universal access to safe blood transfusion. But how exactly are we faring as a country? What is the state of our national blood bank? We give you the details as we host those officers right here on the AM show. We'll be right back.